Andrew McCART, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're here in Newcastle for another huge fight night in Newcastle. Just describe everything to me, Eddie.
Tell you what, I was thinking on the way up. I mean, I am literally just a travelling salesman. They tell me, where am I going today? Newcastle. Off I go. I was actually laughing at myself because I was walking along with my briefcase. And I was thinking, fucking hell, you're just morphing into your old man, because he's 72 and he's still going. See him going down the street with his briefcase. What Newcastle's become is a proper fight night destination and night out. So much so that you're getting people who are watching and coming up to experience the atmosphere from London, from coming down from Scotland, you know, coming across from Manchester, because it's got the reputation now, a bit like Warrington's got in Leeds, a bit like Frampton's got in Belfast. And I remember when we were building Frampton, my friends were going from London and flying to Belfast because of the atmosphere. And I think Newcastle has basically established itself now, probably as a front runner. You know, that and Leeds. I mean, it's become really powerful. And we came here. It'll be nearly 2 years since we came with Lewis Ritson. Josh Kelly boxed on a card as well, and it was a slow burner. You know, it was decent, but about 5,000. I was quite pleased, and it's just got bigger and bigger. And to think that Lewis Ritson lost to Patera and came back, had a win, then fought Robbie Davis, sold the place out, now fights Miguel Vasquez, really in probably the most important fight of his career, because this is the one before the World Championship show. And I think if he wins this, no one can criticise him for not having a world level victory. I think Robbie Davis is a great fighter, and I thought that was one of the best fights I've seen live. Vasquez, we know he's been there, done it, getting a little bit old, but still brilliant fighter, tricky, probably a bad style for Lewis Ritson, to be honest with you. But when have you ever seen Lewis Ritson in a bad fight? It don't exist. So this is a really important fight for him. And I think this will tell us more about Lewis Ritson as a fighter, and how far away he is for challenging for the world title, because I believe when he wins this fight, the one after should and must be a world championship fight. On the undercard, you got loads to pick from. Thomas Patrick Ward, who is now number 3 in the world with a super bantamweight with the WBO, and with Navarrete about to move on, this win could take him to number 2 to give him a vacant world title shot as well. Good fighter, gone under the radar, but sort of travelled around and boxed in America as well. And you know, Dave Allen's here. He's not on the card, is he?
No, I don't know.
Oh, right, okay, I know,
yeah.
He's looking for a world title shot. Really good heavyweight fight between Simon Vallily and Fabio Wardley for the English heavyweight title. I like that a lot. Also, Cash Farouk, one of your boys from the Scottish boys. He's someone I'm really excited about. You know, I think that he's going to go on and be a very good fighter. Great fight with Lee McGregor. I had him winning the fight. It's irrelevant, really. It's done. I think most people did, but you know, it was a close fight. Looking for him to fight for a title on April the 4th. And then the women again, Savannah Marshall, who just walked into the room as well, who challenges for the world title, against Perez, the WBO light heavyweight champion. And it's a tough one because Savannah's a super middle who was up for going down to middle, but basically all the titles are frozen up. So we looked at light heavyweight, and we managed to do a deal with Perez, WBO light heavyweight champion, and it's a big step up for her, not just fighting a world champion, but also in size as well. You know, I see Savannah actually being a middleweight over the years, and I think that it's going to be really interesting to see. She's always going to have more ability than most of her opposition, but here she's going to be undersized. So it's a great chance for her to become world champion. And what a time for women's boxing. You know, Terry Harper last week was just incredible.
Your new favourite fighter.
Yeah, I know. And Savannah as well. Chance for her to become world champion. And this will really open the doors for a multi-weight world championship legacy for her, because I don't see her having many fights at light heavyweight, to be honest with you. So this was an opportunity to fight for and win. And you know what? We could have got a vacant title at light heavyweight. But it's just, how can you really celebrate the same way as you would by dethroning a champion? Yeah, exactly. So she's going to be doing that. Joe Laws also on the card. Wouldn't be a card without Joe Laws. April Hunter, who made her debut on the card last time, she's now racked up a couple of victories. Some of our younger fighters as well. So just finalising everything now, and of course the championship fight's pretty much set and headlined by Lewis Ritson against Vasquez.
Just touching on Lewis Ritson against Vasquez. I mean, Vasquez, the last two times he was in this country was against Josh Taylor. He got stopped, but then he put on a great performance against O'Hara Davis, where many people think he won.
He did win that. I mean, even O'Hara, I think, gave him that fight. So
I think this is like Vasquez is going to come at this fight with
I mean,
prove, so to speak.
It's funny because when you look at some of the pictures of Vasquez, he looks about 74, and I just went to see him, and he looks good. You know, he looks fresh, just coming off a win as well. He's not as old, sometimes I shouldn't say it too loud, as he looks, you know. And actually a lot of his performances, like boxed well against Josh Taylor, gave Josh Taylor a good fight, and Josh boxed really well in that fight. He beat O'Hara Davis, in my opinion. It was fairly close, but I think everybody knew that. So he is a very, very good fighter. In fact, when he was world champion, IBF lightweight champion, no one wanted to fight him at all. He got robbed against Mickey Bay. He was like the bogeyman of the division. Who was it who was they talking about for years? Oh, Broner, wasn't it? Broner.
Yeah.
When Broner was fighting, people talk about him fighting, and who was it was Burns against Vasquez. He was in that mix of fighters that were looking to unify, and no one really wanted to fight Vasquez because he's very, very awkward. As he's got a little bit older and he's slowed down a little bit, he's actually started to stand and fight a little bit more, which will suit Lewis Ritson. But if he moves, it's going to be a tough night for Lewis Ritson, and he's very, very clever, and a world-class fighter. So he's here, and you know, to be honest with you, like, if you're prepared to fly over for the press conference from Mexico, like, it's a long way to come for a press conference, you know. So it's really his chance. He knows if he wins here, he's going to be in a great position to go on and fight for the world title himself. Lewis Ritson is number 2 with the WBA, so he's looking for a world title shot himself.
There's going to be an eliminator?
Doesn't have to be. The last one was. I mean, he's there now, Lewis, do you know what I mean? So the only thing that is there is a final eliminator, which this won't be. But there's no place to move other than number 1 for Lewis. So yeah. I mean, well, I think trying to become the mandatory for Josh Taylor is probably the next move. But really, he's ready. You know, I feel like I would have been happy for him to fight for a world title now, but the right thing to do is to get more experience, more international experience, and this is the kind of fight that's going to give him that. Because moving to the world title level, and again, you know, you almost heard him say, talking about the Josh Taylor fight, I'm going to get a pasting in that fight. It's like, you can't, you know, I know he was joking, but does he truly believe he's at world level yet? And I think beating someone like Miguel Vasquez and doing it well will show that he is.
I want to go away from obviously this card just for a second. I mean, you're making noise on Twitter. I mean, it seems like Adrian Broner last week, and then you had Jarrell Miller on Instagram calling you a fraud, and I don't know if you've seen Jamal
Charlo, called me a queer then.
Yeah,
that's nice. I've never read that one before. That's very pleasant.
He basically said if you wanted the fight with Andrade, just speak to him.
Well, basically, the reason that, I mean, look, he doesn't have a promotional contract. So I spoke to him on social media, and he said, send me the offer. So I sent him the offer, and you know, he's out there telling everyone, every man and his dog, that he's his own boss. You know, Lions only promotions. You know, major. So I did sent him the offer, and now he comes out and says, "Well, I don't sort out my fights. You know, send it to Al Heyman." So all right, okay, I will. But you told me to send you the offer, and you told the world you're your own boss. So you've had the offer, which is probably 3 times what you've ever earned to unify against Andrade. Any chance of a reply? You know, I mean, I'd rather even he called me that on email and replied to the email rather than just doing it on what I thought was an Instagram live or something like that. So, no, I mean, yeah, the Broner stuff was interesting because I weren't really going to do it. And then I thought, you know what, he put my email out a couple of years ago, and I actually messaged him and said, I'm going to post this. And he was like, yeah, go for it. So it was good for Devin. I like the fight, to be honest with you.
Devin Broner?
Yeah, because I think it's a great breakout fight for Devin. Certainly the toughest fight of his career. I mean, Broner, although has lost at elite level, can still really fight. You know, it's more a concern of how much money he wants, or how realistic he's going to be about the money, or more importantly, what weight he's going to come in at. Because he's saying about 135, he ain't making 135 in a million years. But Devin will fight, no, probably not. But Devin will fight him at 142, 143, and that's a big disadvantage for Devin. But he's willing to do it, so we'll see where it goes.
You said San Francisco or the Bay Area for that.
Yeah, I want to take Devin to the Bay Area. You know, that's where he's from originally. Obviously, he lives in Vegas now, so that's an option as well. But I think the Bay Area has been starved of big fights ever since Andre Ward retired. There hasn't been a great deal going on, and I feel like he could be a real breakout starter.
Well, something as well, there was a media call last night with Deontay Wilder, and one of the journalists asked Deontay if he would fight Joshua in the States or America, and he said Josh isn't even in the picture anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
not being funny, how the fuck can you say that? Like,
he said he hardly won his titles back.
Yeah, he hardly won his titles back. I mean, this is a guy who was basically just for years and years just refused to fight Anthony Joshua, and now he's doing it again. He's lining it up. That's why Tyson's got to get the win, because we can make that happen. Tyson Fury will fight Joshua, no problem. It's a quick conversation between me, Bob Arum and MTK, and he gets done instantly, right? Wilder's just on another planet. Unfortunately, probably think Wilder's going to win the fight. So we'll see.
Do you want Tyson to win?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course I want Tyson to win the fight. Because he's a Brit, and more importantly, is a much easier chance to make that big fight, because I believe, like I said, he will fight him. I believe that he will take the challenge against Joshua. For Wilder to tee that up, if Wilder wins this fight, he'll be under so much pressure to fight Joshua. But there's nothing we can do. People can see by those comments what we're up against. So, to say that he's not in the picture is just crazy. It's weird.
Dave Allen's here. I mean, after this fight, there was allegations that he was sort of like fixing his fight, sort of thing. Do you want to comment on that?
Not really. I spoke to a British Boxing Board of Control about it, who I believe they had a call from the Gambling Commission. I said, look, if you need, let me know if you need anything from us. Spoke to Dave Allen, and Dave's quite sort of baffled by it all. Saw Dorian Darkshaw's tweets. I don't want to confirm, but having spoken to the board after they spoke to the Gambling Commission again, I don't think there's much to investigate further. But anything like that, and don't forget, Matchroom are involved not just with British Boxing, but with the PDC, the Professional Darts Corporation, with World Snooker, and the governing body in snooker. We have this kind of disciplinary committees set up to deal with stuff like that. We don't in boxing because it's the board's role, but we do it in snooker. We've been through the process with the Gambling Commission. We actually know quite a lot about it. So we'll let them do their job, come back, and I think in boxing, it's almost like if I'd done an interview with you and said I'm going to move around for a couple of rounds, then I'm going to try and stop him, then you might think, oh, better in the third round. What is what is not just unacceptable, but will remove you from the sport, is if you collude to play out a fight, whilst knowing the result beforehand. So if that is the case, then there would be major problems. But it doesn't sound like it to me. And from the commission, Dave's here. You can ask him. He's a bit baffled by it all. I think his mates thought bet on him going points, because he told everyone he was going to go 6 rounds. I know. So it's probably my fault, because I said to him, "Come on, hurry up, let's see some action," because it was getting boring. So
it's your fault then.
It's my fault. I think the best thing to do in that situation is just blame me. Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Even my wife and that, I blame you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Finally, can I just ask, the reason you love the tune is because you don't get booed up here, do you?
I do. I've
seen the video Coogan put up with you with the
always. Yeah. I didn't get booed in Sheffield.
Turning the fans around?
No context. Hearn's turning the fans around, not me. Look, I think we had a great night in Sheffield. Great card. Up here has just been amazing. When you bring in fights here and people are enjoying it, then the atmosphere for you is sometimes a little bit better. It's when you do a pay-per-view card and they're sitting there and it's Dr. Evil in it. So we'll see.
BT Sport have matched the $24.99 for the Wilder Fury, the same as Sky. I've seen Twitter, there's still fans sort of bumping the thumbs a little bit at that price as well. Are you happy with that price for BT for a fight like Wilder Fury?
It's a big fight. Main problem, 5 o'clock in the morning. We know we did it for Joshua Rees, and it was at 9 PM or whatever it was. It broke the record, most revenue ever received on a box office event. Sometimes things that fans don't see is BT are under a lot of pressure because of the offer made by Sky to match it, that they probably won't make any money out of the fight. So they're probably trying to find a way to make it work and make it profitable. It's business at the end of the day. They probably don't feel that at $24.95 they'll lose any buyers. They probably will, but will they lose many buyers versus £19.95? Probably not. I just think the biggest challenge for that fight is that it's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think most people will, in the world that you live in today, you can wake up in the morning. and watch the fight. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether you've booked it on BT or you've found the knockout, and that's the problem that live sports has now, not just with illegal streams, but the readiness of content on social media when you wake up. So you know that if you woke up in the morning, Tyson Fury, you could turn on your phone and someone's put out, or there's a clip of a knockout or the highlights, you know, and that's actually bad news for pay-per-view models, and it's something that we have to try and protect. At 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, people are more inclined to go, you know what, I don't want to watch a dodgy stream, forget the word illegal stream, not just a stream, an illegal stream. So I don't want to do that, or I just want to sit there in the comfort and watch this in full HD. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's one of them where I stay up, do I not stay up, and maybe the extra fiver makes you think, oh, do you know what, I'll just watch it in the morning. But I don't criticise 24.95. It is a big fight.
Finally, before I let you go, it's something to pack up here a wee bit. I want to get a quick reaction. You put out a post, Gassiev and Madrimov on the Texas card.
I mean, the card is the mad thing about the fans is you put out Mikey Garcia against Jesse Vargas, Calify against Chocolatito, Cesar Martinez against Jay Harris for WBC world title, and then you put out Parker, right? And people go, oh, Parker's opponent's not very good. It's like, mate, he's a fourth fight on the card. Do you know what I mean? He's the world heavyweight champ, former world heavyweight champ. So he's fighting. That's actually a good fight against Winters. He's on a great run. Gassiev's out against Jerry Forrest. It's a good fight. Gassiev's been out for blimey, a year and a half, something like that. Yeah, it's been really frustrating. And Madrimov is in a ordered WBA eliminator against Charlie Navarro. Plus, you've also got Jesse Rodriguez, who's Mikey Garcia's big young hope in a title fight. You've got Pacheco, you've got Espino. It's unbelievable. And that card is probably the best card, top to bottom, I've ever put on since I've promoted boxing. It's unbelievable. So, 2 weeks.
29th.
2 weeks? 3 weeks this Saturday. 2 weeks this Saturday. 2 weeks this Saturday, yeah. We'll be in Dallas.
Good stuff. Well, I won't keep much longer. Thanks so much about the start. As always, thanks for this 5 TV. I'll catch up soon. Thank you.